Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the Anime Iceberg. I'm Megan,
And I'm Meg.
and today we are covering Dr. Stone Episode 10, A Flimsy Alliance.
Yes, in this episode, Senku and his Kingdom of Science successfully test the first light bulbs and to collapse. Meanwhile, Asagi again, a spy from Sukusa's empire, is killed by an unknown attacker.
I like how they just say he was killed.
Right? That's well, I kind of noticed that in the episode 'cause they're like, "Oh, they killed Gen," and then also earlier they were like, When they killed Senku, when you killed
Yeah,
Senku," and it's like,
and I love Senku's always the one who's like, well, I'm still here, but I'm still here. And then they said that about Gen. He's like, well, I mean, he's not dead.
mhm,
He was always the one to step in and be like correcting them. But I think to everyone else's minds, because I remember Kaiju was saying like when he killed Senku too, like that it's not just the villagers, it's the modern timers too. I think in their minds, if the person had the intent to kill, it doesn't matter that the plan didn't go through. It's like when they killed,
mhm.
you know,
Yeah, yeah, I kind of agree with that.
yeah. This covers manga chapters 26, A Shallow Alliance, and 27, A Certain Scientist's Wish.
I wonder who that is.
Gee, which scientists do we know? Hmm.
I was gonna say something and then I didn't, so that's
Something
why it's
sarcastic.
a weird pause. Well, no, I was gonna be like, well, we gain another scientist in this episode, so we
True.
don't know which scientist.
I'm something of a scientist myself.
Wait, there's so many memes of that. I
I
need.
know.
I'll be sharing those.
Yes, good.
Um,
But anyway, getting to the episode.
yes, let's get into the episode. Uh, yeah. We first start out with this very cute scene of baby Senku learning about science. He's like so excited.
I
Um,
was watching Meg watching anime babies.
yeah, I think we talked about this in our last podcast, but I really like anime babies. They like melt my heart. Real babies do too, but I don't know.
Anime babies have the ginormous eyes.
Right? So cute. But anyway, it's very adorable and baby Senku is learning about the essential power, electricity, and then we go to the present, and Senku has obtained this power officially. And I feel like this is like one of the first times we see Senku like genuinely smiling, like he's just so happy and excited that he got electricity. And then Senku and the crew, which is Chrome and Kohaku and Suika, they are chatting about what they're gonna do next. Specifically what they're gonna do about Gen. And they gotta basically stop him from spilling the beans.
Hmm.
And Chrome is just Chrome. He tries to convince Gen to join them. He's like, "Science is so awesome. The Kingdom of Science is amazing. You have to join us." And Kawaku, of course, we see her trying to take her approach, and she's just gonna beat him up and prevent him from telling Tsukasa.
Reminded
And
me of
then,
Annabeth in that moment, with the knife out and just
uh-huh.
ready to go.
And then we actually get to see Gen coming out of the stone. Yeah, he's coming out of the stone, and Sukas is there, and he's like amassed everybody that he thinks is worth reviving, and they're all very scary looking. And he
Young and
basically,
pure of heart, huh, Sukasa?
right? And then he's like, Tsukasa explains his plan again, and he's like, I need you to see if Senku is alive.
Yes. And interesting note in the manga, Gen was sent on that mission. He was revived 10 days before he met Senku. So he's only been conscious for 10, well, at this point, probably more, but
I mean, like, Tsukasa literally revived him, at least from the way they animated. They like he revives him, then he's like, okay, here's your mission.
yeah,
And
rude
it's like,
awakening.
okay, right? Yeah, I can't even imagine. Like, okay, what would you
I'd
do if
be
you had been revived in the Tsukasa Empire? What would you even do?
cower in a
Like,
corner around all these scary people
yeah.
I can't understand because they're speaking Japanese.
True. True. What do you mean? Like
Ohio.
like 20 words.
I,
You
I
can ask
can't
for
I can't
cake.
string together.
Oh no, Megan's gone.
And you have me going up to Suki and saying, Konnichiwa, Kozo Hiroshiku.
Oh man. No, I mean like the thing is I think a lot of people know enough English so you'd be able to like get
Yeah, you could
by.
piece something together.
Um, but yeah, I think I would want to leave. I don't think I'd want to hang out.
No,
I would be scared.
he's welcoming enough when he wants to
hmm
be, but I feel like I'd see his ideals and his things, and I would have like one moment where I'd be like, "Hey, that's not right." And then, as soon as I disagreed with him, he might show a little bit of that like ferocity, and
You
then
might be dead
I
actually.
might be dead. But on the other hand, I am a girl, so he might be sort of like, "Well, you don't know any better yet, but we will show you the right way of
Ugh,
living."
nah, I'd be out of there.
And then I'd be like, I'm taking the guy with the
Hopefully
bow and
me and you
arrow
would
and
get
leaving.
yeah.
You're coming with me, mister.
Hopefully me and you would get revived together so we could ditch. We could go find the
Yeah.
Kingdom of Science.
I've got a whole story outline in my head of how we would join Senku's crew. Maybe I'll
I
make a
mean,
fan manga one day. Little dojinshi
that'd be
action.
great. That'd be great. Um,
Uh,
yeah. And then okay, so we see Gen getting revived, and then we go back to the present, and Gen somebody comes out of the woods and totally annihilates him. Like
that's
really
bad.
just it's yeah, it's bad. Like he's dead. But then Senku and his buddies, the Kingdom of Science, find him. And he actually had prepared and was wearing like blood bags. So it like looked a lot worse than it actually was. Even though he was it's it was still very bad.
Well, he
He's
still
like
got hit in the
totally
face
yeah,
a
he's like
lot.
unconscious and he's definitely he's bedridden. He needs to take time to recover. But he's not dead. And Suika finds out that it was Magma, who we met in the last episode. He's like that big,
Gaston.
yeah, Gaston and his LeFou mantle. I don't know. And then one little cute detail that I saw when Suika is like telling Senku about Magma, he was like brushing his teeth, and that just
Yeah.
made me smile.
Well,
It
he's
just,
big on hygiene, but
mm-hmm,
I think he had well he had made baking soda before basically. So he
mm-hmm,
had some baking soda and I think he might have whittled down a twig so that he got to the soft bark underneath and was just like scrubbing it around his mouth, which
yeah,
that's pretty efficient. Good for him.
yeah. That makes me wonder if like the villagers know to do that because like obviously the people that they're descended from knew about
Mm. Yeah.
like
Well,
hygiene. So did they teach them like, hey, you gotta take care of yourself and this is
I
how to do it?
I assume Senku is going to introduce things to them like, hey,
Mm-hmm.
rub this around your teeth to make them cleaner, or here's soap. So he's going to introduce new things, but like people survived for a long time without our modern things like
Mm-hmm.
toothpaste. So
Yeah.
I assume that they'll be okay, but I think the real hard thing would come into play with like wisdom teeth or like things
Yeah.
happening where you need to get them moved.
Dude, like those things, like that kind of stuff used to like kill people.
Yeah.
Like people would get like I don't know if it's necessarily from their wisdom teeth, people would get like infections in their teeth and then they die. Like
hmm
it's crazy. Anyway. Yeah, and then so they find out that it was Magma and we find out that Magma hates Kohaku because they have this thing called the Grand Bout where basically all the men of the village fight to win the priestess's hand.
Yeah, so the
Um,
whole village is based on a matriarchy, kind of. The
yeah,
priestess is the most important person.
that like made me wonder, like usually when it's like royalty, they're like, yeah, we gotta have a boy to like carry on the line. But in this case, are
It's a
they like, we
girl.
need to have a girl to carry on the
The
line?
Yeah, and so that's why we find out that Kohaku and Ruri's father, he won the grand bout. Like it
Mm-hmm.
happens once every generation, so that's how he married his wife and had his two girls, was because he won the grand bout. So
Mm-hmm.
I mean like Honestly, I'm still a big proponent of the marry for love, not for status thing, but in
Mm-hmm.
this case it's kind of sweet. And also you see like the bad part of it too, because Magma wants to win for all the wrong reasons. So Kohaku puts a stop to it by completely, wiping the floor with him at the grand
Yeah.
bout.
Yeah. He basically says that he's gonna kill Ruri
Yeah.
if he wins. And then Kohaku's not having it and she takes him out. And then there was no winner. It very much reminded me of Brave. She's
Yes,
like,
I'll
I'll
be
be
shooting for
shooting
my
for my
own hand.
own.
Gotta get Ava back. She can do a really good imitation of Merida.
Awesome.
If you had the chance to change your fate, would you? She
That's
does it
pretty
better.
good.
She does it better though. But anyway,
Uh,
a couple notes about our characters here. Well, we compared Magma and Mantle to Gaston and LeFou, but I would compare uh Kohaku to Tinkerbell. She's basically has the same outfit except her dress is blue. And then she has blonde hair up in a ponytail and blue eyes. So I thought that was
mm-hmm.
kind of cute. Gaston versus Tinkerbell, and Tinkerbell would win.
Mm-hmm.
But also, in the manga, a brief moment when Suika discovers that it was Magma who killed Gen, and they realize that Gen got mistaken for Senku because Magma saw him do the thing with the flowers to make him disappear. So he assumed that Gen was the sorcerer that Kohaku brought illegally to their village. And I don't know what he thought Senku was doing in the background. He obviously didn't know who either Gen or Senku were, but he mistook Gen for being the sorcerer. So in the manga, Chrome laughs about it. Actually, let me find the page so I can get the actual conversation here. Okay. So Chrome says, let me get this straight. Magma mistook Gen for Senku and stabbed him? And Senku says, that's 10 billion% being in the wrong place at the wrong time for Gen. And the two boys are really laughing. And Kaku's like, this is hardly a laughing matter, you two. I can't stand Gen the most, and now I'm the only one pitying him? And Chrome continues, well, sure, it'd be bad if he died, but he didn't, thanks to his own magic. The way I see it, it's insulting for a guy to pity another guy. When a guy's your friend, you just laugh it off. And then Senki says, Gen, a friend? When'd you fall and bump your head, Chrome? He's just an allied soldier, that's all. And then Kahaku's like, men are always such trouble.
I like it.
We'll check back in with what Senku thinks like 10 episodes later when he and Gen are like best buddies.
Mm-hmm. Right. And so they find out because Kohaku won the last grand bout, obviously not gonna marry Ruri. And so they have to have another grand bout. And they decide they need someone from the Kingdom of Science to win so that they can get close to Ruri and actually give her the medicine. And so they convince Kinro and Ginro to join them, to join the Kingdom of Science, really, and train and try to win the grand bout. And the one like sad thing about this is that whoever wins is gonna marry Ruri. And we already know that Chrome has a crush on her. And Senku is like teasing him about it. But I don't know, it's very sweet because Chrome's like, nope, if this is what's gonna save Ruri, I don't care. And then we get a very adorable scene of like them as Chrome and Ruri as children. It's very sweet. And that's like we see his moment where he's like, I'm gonna find everything I can and find something that's gonna save you. So it's
Hmm.
very cute.
Yeah. I
Um
think he'd always
mm,
been into like discovery and adventure, but as soon as he had
mm-hmm,
somebody to try to find a cure for, he was like launched himself into experimenting with different things.
mm-hmm. Yeah. Yes, and then the final part of this episode, Gen is still very ill. He's like can't even he's just bedridden. And everybody's concerned because Tsukasa might come searching for him, obviously. Um, but then we see I think Gen is like overhearing this conversation, and so he like says something to Senku, um, and we don't hear what it is. And then we find out the next morning that he has run away, and everyone is very concerned. It's like we gotta get Gen and prevent him from telling Tsukasa. But Senku is not worried. He's like, nope, he's on our side now, kind of. But first we see Gen telling Tsukasa that Senku is very much dead, and then we also get a glimpse of his empire and some of the characters that we may or may not meet later on. But then we find out that Gen, what he really wants is cola.
Yep.
That's his goal right now. He's like, I'm gonna join the Kingdom of Science so that I can get a cola.
It shows you that Gen's not as superficial as he claims to be, because if it was that easy, he would have been in the Kingdom of Science at ramen. He would have just been like, if it's all about food, then I'm going here. But no,
Hmm.
that's just like a surface level thing where he's like, could you make this for me if I do this for you? A bottle of cola is not a fair trade for what Gen did for Senku and the
Hmm.
gang. So
Yeah.
he is 10 billion% on board with this and he likes these guys and he wants to be part of this, what they're starting.
Yeah. Yeah. He's just trying to save face and like, you know.
I see where Kohaku is coming from, where she's like, ugh, men.
Uh-huh. Yes. But yeah, that's the end of the episode.
Yeah. So, for voice actor notes, we're actually gonna do two for one because we kind of have to because it's the two brothers. So we got Kinro and Ginro. Kinro is the older one with brown hair, and Ginro is the younger one with blonde hair. Kinro means gold, Ginro means silver. Obviously, their parents had a theme in mind. If they had a sister, she'd probably be bronze. I don't know what that is in Japanese, but anyway. So Kinro is played by Jesse James Greeley, who is previously credited as Josh Greeley, who is Armin Arlert from Attack on Titan, a personal favorite character of ours, Satori Tendo from Haikyuu, and Zen Wisteria of Clariness from Snow White with the red hair.
Yes. Excellent voice actor.
Yeah, sometimes we can't even tell it's him. So
Mm-hmm.
And then Ginro is played by Justin Briner, who is Deku or Izuku Midoriya from My Hero Academia, Hanako from Toilet Bound Hanako-kun, and Luck from Black Clover.
Yes, both pretty well known
Yeah, they've got some
voice
good
actors
titles to their
actually.
names.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, I forgot to write it
Hmm.
down, but Baby Senku said get excited. Or I think he said like this gets me excited or something,
Yes,
but
yes.
his
Okay.
first his
His
first
first
get
get
excited.
excited. Cute. That was
Yeah.
probably his first words when he was learning to speak. Get excited.
Yeah.
Yeah, technically I could count Chrome saying something like, "This is bad" when he saw Gen get stabbed, but that doesn't count
That
because
doesn't
he did
count.
not
It's not.
stop. He did not say that's bad, as in that's awesome. It was a
Yeah.
legit bad thing.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. The last thing you wanted to talk about was Magma's friend, who basically is LeFou. His name is Mantle. Um,
I refuse to make eye contact with you.
Megan is dying right now because when we first watched the show, she came up with a just a I'm not I wouldn't say it's an unhinged theory because I feel like it does have weight, but basically, if you look at that man, he is so strange looking. He looks off. And so Megan's theory is that he was a product of incest because there's only like 50 people in the village and like it's just you just like there's just not enough people to like mix up the genes. So basically he
I'm
looks weird
so
because
sorry.
no, it cracks me up every time I see him. I just think about that.
I ruined the show for her because whenever that character's on screen, Meg gives me a look, and then we're both dying.
Yeah.
Especially
But
when he
it
goes,
like
"Oh yeah."
he's the worst. And we're not the only ones that think this because we were looking at some of the comments on Crunchyroll, like from this episode, and somebody said, I crave the destruction of Magma's side boy.
No one likes
He's kind
him.
of the worst. Like he's just so annoying and unnecessary. But anyway, that was what we wanted to share, and now you can think about that too whenever you watch the show and see him. It honestly, the theory holds
He could just be
like
short, but there's something about his beady little eyes.
it's not oh my gosh. But it's not just that. Like it yes, he's short, but it's just like his whole like his proportions. And like that's
You should see how he's drawn in the manga.
oh no. Does it give even more credit to the theory?
Maybe.
Oh no.
I
Yeah.
mean, he could, okay, like, okay, having dwarfism does not mean there is anything wrong with your bloodline.
Being shorter. Yes, he is shorter. But there's a lot of there's I mean we haven't seen a lot of them, but there's quite a few villagers that are not super tall. Like it's not like
Yeah, it's okay
it
to be short. I should know.
yeah, yeah. But just but that
Gonna
was
address
our
it. They're not gonna, they're never gonna
no,
address it.
no.
It's
I
just a
don't
character design. It's like that kid from My Hero Academia, the really annoying Mineta. Ugh, him.
ugh,
Ugh.
yeah,
He's he's super tiny, but it's just his character design.
yeah. Anyway, I don't know what else to say. Okay.
That's all we gotta say about that. Okay, moving on.
What was your favorite line of the episode?
Mine, of course, came from Chrome when he said, "Because above all else, I'm a genius scientist, aren't I?" That's our new meme instead of the Spider-Man one.
Yes.
And what was your favorite line, Meg?
Mine came from Senku when he was making fun of Chrome for liking Ruri. Where he's like, yo, Chrome, the only reason she's apologizing is because the plan means that one of those guys would marry Ruri, even though we all know you're in love with her.
What a jerk.
He is, but we love him anyway.
Yeah, he doesn't mean it in a mean way. He's just lightening the mood and teasing.
Yeah. And what did we learn in this episode?
We learn that showing kindness to others can lead to important allies.
And who pushed the story forward?
Again, for misleading Tsukasa about Senku still being alive.
All right. I think that's all we got for this episode.
Yeah, that was a fun one. Nothing too big happened in terms of like
Mm-mm.
scientific stuff, but it was good for character growth.
Yeah. All right. We will be back next week with another episode.
See you next time.
Bye.
Bye.